Hello, and welcome back to Your Brain Lied. Today we're diving into something that probably feels way too familiar. Doomscrolling. You know, that late night rabbit hole of bad news that leaves you feeling, well, doomed? We're going to unpack why our brains are so drawn to negativity, and more importantly, how to pull ourselves out of that spiral. It's not about ignoring the world or sticking our heads in the sand. It's about understanding our brains and choosing how we respond. Okay, so what is doomscrolling really? It's more than just reading the news. It's a specific pattern of consuming overwhelmingly negative content online, usually in a continuous, repetitive way. Think scrolling through endless news articles about global crises, reading every comment on a controversial social media post, or binge-watching documentaries about all the things that are wrong with the world. And here's the kicker. Even though it makes us feel awful, we often can't stop. It's like scratching an itch that only makes it worse. Why do we do this to ourselves? Well, a few things are going on in our brains. First, there's the basic human drive to seek information. We want to understand the world around us. We want to know what's happening, what the threats are, and how to protect ourselves and our loved ones. That's a very primal instinct. But the internet has turned that instinct up to 11. Imagine our ancestors living on the savannah. Their brains were wired to pay close attention to potential dangers. A rustling in the grass could mean a predator. Ignoring it could be fatal. Now, fast forward to today. Instead of a rustling in the grass, we have a constant stream of notifications, headlines, and alerts, all screaming for our attention. Our brains haven't quite caught up to this information overload. They're still scanning for danger, and the internet provides a never-ending supply of perceived threats. Another factor is something called the negativity bias. This is basically our brain's tendency to pay more attention to and remember more vividly negative experiences than positive ones. It's like our brains are Velcro for bad news and Teflon for good news. Again, this evolved for a good reason. If you eat a poisonous berry once, you're going to remember that experience and avoid that berry in the future. That's how we learn and survive. But in the digital age, this bias can lead us down a dark path. We're constantly bombarded with negative information, and our brains are naturally drawn to it, amplifying the feeling of anxiety and fear. Think about it this way. You could read 10 positive news articles, but the one negative headline about a local crime will stick with you. You might even find yourself dwelling on it, imagining the worst-case scenarios. This is the negativity bias in action. And let's not forget the role of uncertainty. Humans are naturally uncomfortable with the unknown. We crave predictability and control. When the world feels chaotic and uncertain, we often try to regain a sense of control by seeking out information. We think that if we just read enough, we'll understand what's happening and be able to prepare for the future. But the problem is, the more we scroll, the more uncertain and overwhelming things can seem. It becomes a vicious cycle. Okay, so we're hardwired to seek information, we have a negativity bias, and we're trying to cope with uncertainty. But there's one more piece of the puzzle. The reward system in our brain. Every time we check our phones, we get a little dopamine hit. It's like a tiny reward for seeking out information. And even if the information is negative, the act of seeking and finding something can be reinforcing. It's similar to how gambling can become addictive. You know you're probably gonna lose, but the possibility of winning keeps you hooked. With doomscrolling, the win is finding information, even if that information makes you feel terrible. Think of it like this. You're feeling anxious about something, maybe a job interview or a health concern. You start Googling it, hoping to find answers and feel more in control. You find some information and your brain gets a little dopamine hit, but then you stumble across a worst-case scenario, and your anxiety spikes. So, what do? You keep scrolling, hoping to find something that will reassure you. The cycle continues, even though you're feeling worse and worse. And here's something else to consider. Sometimes doom scrolling can be a way to avoid other, more difficult emotions. Maybe you're feeling lonely, bored, or overwhelmed. Instead of dealing with those feelings directly, you distract yourself with bad news. It's a temporary escape, but it doesn't address the underlying problem. It's like putting a band-aid on a broken leg. So, how do we break this cycle? It's not easy, but it's definitely possible. The first step is simply becoming aware of your doom scrolling habits. Start paying attention to when, where, and why you tend to scroll. Are you doing it when you're feeling stressed, bored, lonely? Are there certain times of day when you're more likely to get sucked in? Are there certain topics that trigger you? Keep a little mental journal for a few days. Jot down when you find yourself scrolling, how long you scroll for, and how you feel afterwards. This awareness is crucial. You can't change a behavior until you understand it. Once you're aware of your triggers, you can start to develop strategies for managing them. One simple technique is to set time limits for your social media and news consumption. Use the built-in timer functions on your phone, or download an app that helps you track your usage. When the timer goes off, stop scrolling, even if you don't feel like it. Over time, you'll train your brain to break the habit. Another helpful strategy is to curate your feed. Unfollow or mute accounts that consistently post negative or triggering content. Seek out sources of information that are balanced and informative, rather than sensationalized and fear-mongering. Remember, you have the power to control what you see online. Don't let the algorithms dictate your mood. Think of it like this: your social media feed is like your diet. You wouldn't eat junk food all day, every day. You try to balance it with nutritious foods that nourish your body. The same applies to your information diet. Fill it with content that is uplifting, inspiring, and informative, rather than just negative and anxiety-provoking. And here's a big one: create physical and mental distance from your phone, especially before bed. Charge your phone in another room. Turn off notifications. Establish screen-free zones in your home. The goal is to break the association between your phone and your anxiety. If you find yourself reaching for your phone out of habit, try to replace it with something else: reading a book, going for a walk, talking to a friend. It's also important to develop healthy coping mechanisms for dealing with stress and anxiety. Doom scrolling is often a symptom of underlying emotional distress. So, instead of reaching for your phone when you're feeling overwhelmed, try practicing mindfulness, meditation, or deep breathing exercises. These techniques can help you calm your nervous system and regain a sense of control. Imagine your anxiety as a wave. When you're doom scrolling, you're just letting the wave crash over you, pulling you under. But with mindfulness and deep breathing, you can learn to ride the wave, observing it without getting swept away. And let's be honest, sometimes the best thing you can do is to simply disconnect. Take a break from the internet altogether. Go for a hike in nature. Spend time with loved ones. Engage in activities that bring you joy and make you feel grounded. The world will still be there when you come back, and you'll be in a better place to deal with it. Think of it like recharging your batteries. You can't run on empty forever. You need to take time to rest and recharge in order to function at your best. Disconnecting from the internet can be a powerful way to do that. Remember, breaking the doom scrolling cycle is a process, not an event. It takes time, patience, and self-compassion. There will be days when you slip up and find yourself scrolling again. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just acknowledge it, learn from it, and get back on track. Be kind to yourself and celebrate your progress along the way. It's like learning a new skill. You're not going to master it overnight. You're going to make mistakes. But with practice and persistence, you'll eventually get there. And if you're struggling to break the cycle on your own, don't be afraid to reach out for help. talk to a therapist, a counselor, or a trusted friend or family member. They can provide support, guidance, and accountability. There's no shame in asking for help. In fact, it's a sign of strength. Okay, so let's wrap things up with a few practical takeaways. First, become aware of your doom scrolling triggers and habits. Keep a mental journal for a few days and notice when, where, and why you tend to scroll. What emotions are present? Second, set time limits for your social media and news consumption. Use the built-in timer functions on your phone or download an app to track your usage. Can you realistically cut your screen time by 20 minutes a day? And third, cultivate healthy coping mechanisms for dealing with stress and anxiety. Practice mindfulness, meditation, or deep breathing exercises. Or simply step away from your phone and engage in activities that bring you joy. What activity makes you feel the most present and grounded? Really think about those questions. Awareness, limits, and healthy coping. Those are your keys to breaking free from the doom scrolling trap. Thank you for joining me on Your Brain Lied. Remember, you have the power to change your relationship with technology and reclaim your mental well-being. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.